Hi guys. So, want to hop on here and I wanted to clarify some stuff. And regarding the Faces of Kratom on TikTok, I haven't forgotten about you guys. Are just fighting this cold. So, but yeah. So I wanted to follow up on the whole like addiction thing, or like how, because my last post and video on YouTube, I mentioned that, for some people who maybe can't take stimulants or like, anything that has alkaloids in it, kratom might not be a good fit for them. It's not bad. It doesn't mean that kratom is this bad substance. And I don't understand why people get mad at me. Seems like some people, like, I don't know if it's sending a mixed message, or I'm not condemning our plant. I just feel like there's so much hysteria surrounding. It's like, just because maybe someone can't take kratom, it doesn't mean it's a danger to society. Like, I don't know why. What is the deal with the hysterics? It's sad though, because it contributes to the mass confusion, and it just adds to the controversy surrounding this plant. And I'm guessing that that's probably why people do it. Like, maybe they try and make more out of, the reason why they can't take it. It's not that big a deal. That's how life works. That's why we have so many different options. That's why it's important that we keep other options open. Just like marijuana. Like, I can't sit and get stoned all day because it would put me to sleep. But I know a lot of people who depend on medical marijuana for their pain, and they use it the second they wake up. If I did that, I would be a zombie. Like, I would not get out of bed. I would be like on the couch all the time. Hey, and if, like, even if maybe some people like that, that's more power to you. That's fine. If that's what works for you in your life, then I'm not judging. But I think we need to start respecting each other's choices in life, and say, well, hey, I mean, if that's what works for them, then that's great, and I approve that. If it's not harming anyone, then that's a good thing. And just because maybe you had a negative experience or something, it doesn't mean it's bad and it needs to be banned. So I just want to make sure that I'm clarifying this. Is kratom is a godsend, but it's just, I feel like we need to really clear the confusion, and because there's just so many lies and misconceptions. And one thing that drives me crazy is, and it needs to be discussed, because I feel like kratom is always getting wrongfully blamed for people's negative behaviors. For example, there's no reason why a person cannot stop taking kratom. Unless, coming from a medical standpoint as a psychiatrically trained nurse, I understand some people, they have, psych issues, and maybe it's going to be harder for them to replace a negative behavior with a positive behavior. Or, I view, addictions or behaviors, habits, it's kind of all the same thing. There's good habits, there's bad habits. I believe that in life there are even positive addictions, because I view an addiction kind of like a habit, but it is more complex than that. However, I don't really want to get into that right now. But my point is people's behaviors. Like, I have a lot of people who come to me for help, and I'm glad. And first of all, I want to say, I'm sorry, if I didn't reply to a message, it's because Messenger, I don't know why it does this, but if we're not friends, I don't think I can see your message. Like it'll like pop up as a request or something, but I won't see it, and then I'll go into another folder. And so anyways, my apologies if it takes me a while to reply. You can always friend me too. Because again, if we're not friends, then it's harder for me to see your message. But I do notice that some people, like, if you this goes for just about all medications, like any almost any medication that is prescribed by a physician, and you even see it on the side of the bottle, it always says don't just stop, don't discontinue your medication unless you consult a physician. The reason for that being is because your body becomes accustomed to taking something for long periods of time. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just the way it is. It doesn't mean it's like something bad and we can't have these things to take. That's ridiculous. Again, why would it be any different for kratom? Is one of those also, is where if you take it every day for long periods of time, well, your body gets used to it. So, and then the more you take, if you take larger doses, well, then you probably wouldn't want to just suddenly stop. Although I do know people who can do that and they're fine. However, not everyone is like that. I mean, for the most part, your body is going to feel crappy if all of a sudden you stop taking it. You can call it withdrawals, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it. It's not some new thing. I mean, this is the way it is. It's nothing new here. And it doesn't mean, kratom is this dangerous, harmful substance. No. Now, what is harmful is the person and their behavior. So, if you are taking large doses of kratom and you want to stop, then you can stop. Just do a slow taper. For example, I take 2 teaspoons at each dose. That's not that much. I mean, it's not minimal, but it's not really that big of a dose, and I want to keep it that way. It's just less is more, and it's a better approach. However, I don't judge other people. I mean, some people need bigger doses. And so if you are taking, like, say you take 3 tablespoons and you want to stop taking this, then it's not that hard. One day, okay, so for 2 days, instead of your 3 tablespoon dose, you could decrease it by 1/2 tablespoon or 1/4. You could first try 1/2. You could start taking 2.5 tablespoons. And this is powder. I'm talking about pure leaf. I'm not talking about extracts. Honestly, I'm not really familiar with extracts, but I mean, you could use the same analogy for this, for tapering. So, for like 2 days, take 2.5 tablespoons each dose. If your body is having a hard time with that, then you could just decrease by 1/4 of that tablespoon. So you would take, instead of 3 tablespoons, you would take 1 3/4 tablespoons at each dose for, 2 days. If that seems like it's working, then great. Then do that for 2 days. The next 2 days, then decrease it to 2.5 tablespoons. Do that for 2 days. That works. Then, okay, next 2 days, then decrease it again to 2 tablespoons or 2.25 tablespoons, whatever's working for you. But I'm sure you understand. And if that's too hard, you could stretch the days apart into 3-day intervals instead of 2-day intervals. However, I am having people saying, well, one guy says that, they're having a hard time and they can't sleep and they're having all these issues. And I said, well, did you slowly taper, or did you just suddenly, stop taking it? Or, from a higher dose, did you all of a sudden take a really small dose? And they said, yep, they did. They just suddenly decreased it. Well, and that's why. That's why. You can't suddenly decrease it like that. You can't do that. And it doesn't mean that kratom is this horrible, harmful substance. No, that's how most medications and herbs are. You have to slowly decrease it over time. I think people are just so impatient with everything, and they just want something to be done today, and that's not how life works. But I just wanted to hop on here and say a few things because I love representing this plant, and it's frustrating, I gotta admit, sometimes, because I just feel like kratom is always wrongfully blamed for, in an unjust way. It's like, it's really, the people and our behaviors that are the harmful thing, not kratom. So again, if you want to stop taking kratom, then slowly taper. And going back to, people in 12-step, so I wanted to clarify this. So, many moons ago, before I processed my trauma and got therapy for my crap, like, I won't lie, like, I could abuse some things. I partied, I kind of, self-medicated. This was way, way before, long time ago, way before I ever even discovered kratom. But, I'm glad I got therapy, and I truly can thank myself for that, because I'm a different person today. I mean, I'm the person who I was supposed to be before, all the trauma happened to me. I feel like I am who I was supposed to be, and that's a wonderful thing. And, it's true, like, I'm living proof. Like, say you are in 12-step, and, I believe that a lot of the people maybe are brainwashed into thinking that, you're just stuck, or, like, if you haven't gotten therapy and you only go to 12-step, but you haven't gotten therapy or addressed your issues, then I feel like there's a lot of room for a person to grow. And, like, for me, I'm living proof. I mean, you can overcome your addiction and your past behavior. You can take kratom or different things that maybe have a low addiction potential and not be out of control. However, for the most part, someone has to put in the work in order to do that. You have to grow, because you have to address your issues, because you definitely don't want your trauma driving you to abuse things, if that makes sense. But my point is if you put in the work, you can overcome, like, your past addictions or behaviors. And then my other point is, for some people, maybe they can't, and maybe they are as good as they're going to get, or maybe they don't have the strength. Maybe they're older or just too fragile, and maybe they just can't get through therapy. That's okay. I'm not judging people like that. I have someone I love with all my heart, and she can't. She can't. It would almost be the opposite for her. Like, it would probably just make her worse. I mean, this is a person that is a lot older, so there's different variables, but for the most part, I believe that therapy can help for a lot of people, especially if you're younger and you aren't, like, at the end of your life. Or okay, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.